I've got to move on to the Week 2 games, and we've got a lot of good ones. Week 2 seems to always be an interesting week because Week 1 you get those traditional rivalry games, and then a lot of the conferences are getting ready for conference play in Week 2. This one, New Haven at Woodland, you mentioned it briefly. This is the one that's going to intrigue me because it's our highlight zone game of the week. Both teams came out firing in Week 1. What can we expect as they go head-to-head in Woodburn in Week 2?
Well, it's real simple what this game boils down to. Woodland wants to run the ball, and if they run the ball effectively, then New Haven's going to have some trouble, and Woodland can keep the New Haven offense off the field by running the ball and really wear down that defense. Jalen Bennett, 242 yards rushing last week. It's no secret what Sherwood Haydock wants to do. They're going to hand off to Bennett a lot, and they're going to try to manage the clock and control the ball. And if New Haven's defense can take that part of the Woodland offensive attack away, then it's game over. New Haven will roll in this. But it's real simple. If Woodland runs the ball successfully, Woodland has a chance. If they don't, they're in trouble.
And a lot of people focus on Jalen Bennett, and rightly so. But Corbin Smith showed some ability. Their quarterback, he's coming back as a starting QB. And, you know, in Sherwood Haydock's offense, it can be nice to have a featured and a seasoned signal caller back there.
Well, Haydock has been at this so many years. He knows how to take advantage of the weapons that he has. Now, they predominantly run the ball, but if they have a kid who can throw the ball some, they'll do that enough to keep the defense honest.
Reminds me of a young Zach Bo Haydock from back in the old Harding days. Has a little bit of a dual threat ability. Southside at Snyder, we touched on it a little before. How does South? I think most people would say Snyder is a favorite going into this game, but Southside played really well in a lot of facets of the game against Dwenger. I'm not sure this is a cakewalk by any means for this Snyder team because it was such an up-in-the-air proposition of what they had and what they didn't have heading into the Lures game. I think it's hard to tell, based on Lures losing so many players, what exactly Snyder has this year.
Well, that's true, and Snyder lost so many players. And so now Lures turned the ball over 7 times. You turn the ball over 7 times against a junior high team, and you're going to look bad. And so it's hard to tell if Snyder is really, if their defense is really as good as it appeared, or if it's going to be a little bit more equaled out this week against Southside. The thing about Southside is, with Donovan Clark and a couple other weapons, they have so many big play capabilities. It doesn't matter if Snyder marches up and down the field. One play, and Southside can tie the game. And even in the Dwenger game, they were 1 play away from being 3 points down. 1 Donovan Clark punt return, 1 Donovan Clark interception return. They always are within striking distance. Having said that, I really like Snyder's passing game and running game. They really mixed it up well last week, along with their defense getting 7 turnovers. And they have so much depth on Snyder. Southside does not have a lot of depth. And so I really like Snyder. Not by a huge margin by any stretch. Like I said, this will be a competitive game, but Snyder's depth, I think, will really wear on Southside.
And another big matchup in the SAC, Bishop Dwenger. Can they keep it rolling? The Battle of Zollner Stadium against Concordia. Concordia didn't come out really with an excellent performance against Northside. They lost 26-19. In talking to the coaching staff, you know, Concordia scored late to make that a closer game on paper than I think it was on the field. But they've got, according to MaxPreps.com, first-team All-State preseason quarterback David Morrison. I know you like him because he's going to be a Ball State Cardinal in the future. So when you have a D1 quarterback against a team like Bishop Dwenger, that's going to be a pretty interesting matchup on Friday night.
Okay, everything I just said about Southside having 1 strike capability with Donovan Clark, apply it to Concordia with their quarterback. When you have a quarterback that can throw for 300 yards and 42 pass attempts like Morrison did, and he ran for over 30 yards last week, so he has dual capability. You always have a chance. Having said that, I think Dwenger is just really too good. Dwenger is going to score in multiple ways against Concordia's defense. The Cadet defense just is not strong enough to control the Dwenger offensive attack. Plus, here's the thing about Dwenger's offense. The one question mark that everybody had about it was the running game and the offensive line play. Both were great the other night. Offensive line gave Fia Cable a ton of time. And so if that's going to be good, then they're going to be able to run the ball. And I really think Dwenger dominates this game. But having said that, when you have David Morrison, you always got a chance.
That's right. And Last week, I made it out to 2 games. I was out at the Northrop East Noble game. Very impressed with what Coach Amstutz does in replacing Nick Weimer at quarterback with Bryce Wolf. He was pretty good. It took him a while to get things rolling, but the second half belonged to East Noble. And also was up at Carroll at Dean Gorsuch Field as Carroll took on Goshen in the Mike Chevron Bowl. And Mike Chevron, that was a long ride back to Goshen High School, 55-zip Carroll. The Chargers should get tested more this week against Trent Fine and Huntington North. Goshen just didn't have anything really going on offense, and we know what Trent Fine does offensively. They love to throw the football.
77 passes?
They throw the football.
77?
They made it a game against Homestead, which is something they hadn't done in a while.
Right.
So Carroll at Huntington North, what do we see from the Chargers? What do we see from the Vikes this week?
I can't make up my mind. I'm going to get out a quarter and flip it. Was I more impressed with Carroll dropping 55 on Goshen or shutting them out completely and not allowing? So is it the Carroll offense that's dominating or the Carroll defense? Or maybe in worst case scenario for Huntington North, it's both. Because the Chargers are just, I mean, boy, they look unbelievably good coming off that win. Here's the thing. Huntington North, obviously, 77 passes. They want to pass. But Carroll's secondary is really, really opportunistic, really good. Their defensive line is going to get to Huntington North's quarterback. I can't possibly see this being a close game. I know that the Viking passing attack kept them in the game. They scored late, 14 points in the fourth quarter against Homestead to make it a game. That's not going to happen this week. Carroll absolutely rolls Huntington North, and you know, it may come down to a Carroll-New Haven NHC battle for the title in this league.
And I know Trent Fine breaking in Keenan Lichty at quarterback, really likes him. Maybe it just takes him a while.
Threw it 77 times.
Hey, but it takes a quarterback a while to get used to what it's like to play under those Friday night lights, and certainly 2 home games in a row for Huntington North doesn't hurt at all. But yeah, Carroll with those Tranquil brothers back there defensively, and then doing it on offense, and Chandler Boggs stepped in nicely at quarterback.
He did a nice job.
Yeah.
Tranquil brothers accounted for 5 touchdowns the other night. Now the question this week is, will they score more offensively or more defensively? Because I got news for you. If Huntington North throws the ball like they did last week, there's going to be some picks and some returns.
And Goshen would have gotten on the board had Justin Tranquil not intercepted a ball in the corner of the end zone in the first quarter. So, you know, there's 7 points right there in a swing, and he scored the first touchdown for Carroll. So the first 14 net points went to Carroll thanks to Justin Tranquil. Well, it's going to be an interesting week 2 of high school football. As always, we appreciate Tom Davis for the insight, and we'll join you again next Monday with another edition of Inside the Zone. I'm Glenn, and take care.